Good morning, everyone. This is our presentation, Group 3. So, we will present lead analysis of antaranews.com about COVID-19. Here are some members. First, Cintassa Agni, Silvia, Rini Kusuma W, Dimas Prasetyo, Nadya, and Farenza Alifia. First, we will discuss about type of lead before we going further about the analysis. Direct lead is the first or two paragraph of hard news story and give the most important facts, including 5 Ws and H about the story. It sums up the main idea of the story in one sentence. Second, delayed lead. This lead is start with a little something to catch the reader's attention, and therefore they delay the real stuff. It chooses people rather than event, consists of attention getter and not graph. The next analysis. Jakarta Antara, PT Angkasa Pura I Persero mencatat trafik penumpang pada periode peniadaan mudik pada tanggal 6 sampai 17 Mei 2021 sebesar 74.878.000 pergerakan penumpang atau setara dengan rata-rata trafik penumpang harian pada 2021 pada periode 1 Januari hingga 5 Mei 2021 yang sebesar 74.589 penumpang. English version. State-owned airport operator PT Angkasa Pura I recorded the number of air passengers during the Eid Fitri homecoming ban on May 6 until 17 at 74,878 or equal to the daily average of 74,589 on January 1st until May 5th. And the analysis is in Indonesian and English versions. The journalist used direct lead before informing the rest of the news. Both leads already sums up what, who, when before going further. And the aim of the lead is giving the reader enough information or introduction about the news. Here are some identifiers. The first, who, is PT Angkasa Pura as the recorder of the number and the air passenger. The what is, there is no significant number of differences between homecoming ban and daily average of air passenger. The number is equal. When is 1st of January and 5th of May. The second analysis. English version. President Joko Widodo or Jokowi has urged the health minister to send more doses of COVID-19 vaccines to Riau province to boost vaccination aimed at preventing the spread of the coronavirus infection. And in Indonesian version is Presiden Republik Indonesia Joko Widodo atau Jokowi menyatakan sudah memerintahkan Menteri Kesehatan untuk mengirim vaksin COVID-19 lebih banyak ke Provinsi Riau untuk memperkuat upaya pencegahan pandemi virus corona jenis baru tersebut di daerah setempat. My analysis is both versions of lead are categorized as direct lead, start from informing who, what, when, where, and why. It is complete 5 Ws. And the leads here give the viewer succinct or a glimpse of what they will read in the rest of the paragraph. This good lead already sums up the important information about the news. Here are some identifiers. Who is President Joko Widodo? What is President send more vaccine of COVID-19 to Riau? When? Before the news posted, because there is word sudah, so we can assume that President Joko Widodo already sent more vaccine before the news posted. Where is in Riau? Why? To boost vaccination and at preventing the spread of the coronavirus infection.
Next, my name is Cintassa Agni. My last student number is 015. Here, I will explain about the third news. It is about the prevailing low rate of COVID-19 vaccination among elderly group in West Java. Here, both Indonesian and English news are direct leads because both versions are capable of summarizing the news in one sentence. and delivering the essential concept or the main idea of the news to the audience. The fourth news, it is about the AstraZeneca vaccines that tends to have greater benefits than the risks. In English version, it is a direct lead because the news has summarized the main idea in the first paragraphs, and the news begins with the facts that stated the AstraZeneca vaccines tend to have greater benefits than the risks at the beginning of the paragraphs. Then, they wrote the facts that were stated by the Indonesian Institute of Science or LIPI at the end of the paragraphs. In English version, they also didn't write the name of who was talking because they focus on the event rather than the people. And in the Indonesian news, it is delight leads because they wrote the name Wien Kusharyoto as Kepala Laboratorium Rekayasa Genetika Terapan dan Protein Desain Lembaga Ilmu Pengetahuan Indonesia or LIPI at the beginning of the paragraphs, which mean they more focus on the people because they describe Wien Kusharyoto completely. At the end of the paragraphs, they start to write down the facts.
Okay, so the next news lead is Jayapura Papua Antara officials of Indonesia and Papua New Guinea or PNG are meeting at the SCO Integrated Cross-Border Post or PLBN in Jayapura on Thursday to discuss a plan to resume the cross-border trade activities, a local government official stated. In the Indonesian version, Jayapura Antara pejabat RI Papua Nugini atau PNG dijadwalkan melakukan pertemuan guna membahas rencana pembukaan kembali perdagangan di perbatasan lintas batas negara atau PLBN di SCO Jayapura. Both of them are hard news because they are stated the event and it is event at the moment, and both of the leads are considered as direct lead because the news lead summarizes the event in one sentence. There is a difference between the Indonesian and English version of the leads. The English version stated when the event happened, but the Indonesian version doesn't. Except that all of the contents from both versions are the same. Okay, so for the next news is in the Indonesian version, Jakarta, Antara, Satuan Tugas atau Satgas COVID-19 melaporkan sebanyak 9.247.600 jiwa warga Indonesia telah mendapatkan dosis vaksin COVID-19 secara lengkap hingga Selasa pukul 12 waktu Indonesia Barat. And for the English version, Jakarta, Antara, the number of Indonesians receiving their second dose of the coronavirus vaccine rose by 180,618 on Tuesday, taking the tally of fully vaccinated recipients to 9,247,600, according to the Task Force for COVID-19 handling. So it's included in the hard news because it stated the time of the event and it is using direct lead. And the comparison between these two lead is for the Indonesian version, the lead did not include the rest of number of Indonesian who received the second dose of coronavirus vaccine. And for the English, the lead specified that the number of Indonesians receiving their second dose of the coronavirus vaccine rose by 180,618. And the second comparison is the Indonesian version. The lead included the day and time of the event. It stated Selasa pukul 12 waktu Indonesia Barat. But the English version, the lead just included the day of event, like on Tuesday.
So, my name is Silvia Eka and my student number is 026. Here are the leads of the news
of Professor of Law, Faculty of Medicine, University of Indonesia, Chandra Yoga Aditama revealed that several experts were analyzing the possible impact of 26 mutation cases of the SARS-CoV-2 virus which causes COVID-19 in Indonesia. After analyzing both of the leads, it come to conclusion that both of the leads are direct leads since they are giving a brief summary of the whole news and did not use any personalized story to evoke the reader's mood. And the authors of both versions serve all of the news gist in only one sentence. But there are also differences between the English and Indonesia version. The differences laid in the 5 Ws found in both lead. The first question is what? So, in the Indonesia and English version, it is obviously mentioned that it is about the experts that were analyzing the possible impact of 26 mutation cases of the coronavirus. And then who? For this question, both lead provide that it is Chandra Yoga Ditama that stated that several experts were analyzing the possible impact of 26 mutation cases. And when, unfortunately, both of the lead did not give any information about when the event and where it is exactly in Indonesia and why. For this question, only the English version has the answer. That is which causes COVID-19 in Indonesia. And for the last question, how? Unfortunately, both of the lead doesn't provide the information about this question. And then why both leads are considered as the direct lead? In Indonesia version, it is used active verbs, and the English version it use passive verbs. Why? In the Indonesia version, it is active verbs because it use the word mengemukakan, which is considered as an active, and then in the English version, it is word analyzing. That is the form of the passive verbs. And then both of the leads did not mention any wordplay or personalized story, so it is not delayed leads, but they are direct lead. And then the next is the news about some 900 COVID-19 patients are still hospitalized at Jakarta's Wisma Atlet Kemayoran Emergency Hospital on Tuesday amid public concerns over a potential spike in new confirmed cases following the Eid-al-Fitr holiday season. Just the same as before, both of the leads are considered as direct lead because they both are succinct and give a brief summary of the news content. The English version has a full answer of the 5 Ws and how. For this case, it is how many. And then the Indonesia version only has 4 Ws and also how, about how many. And there are some other differences that I will explain later. Now let's go to the questions. What both cases is talking about the patients that confirmed positive of COVID-19 are still hospitalized in Wisma Atlet Kemayoran. And who? Both of the news provided that it is about the patients of COVID-19. And when? Both of the news mention it is in Tuesday. it is on Tuesday. Oh, I'm sorry. The Indonesia version doesn't giving any information about when and where. Both of the leads mention that it is in Wisma Atlet Kemayoran as emergency hospital. And how, in these cases, it is how many. There are the difference between the number mentioned in the lists of English and Indonesia version. It is obviously that Indonesia version mentioned the exact number 931, while the English version only mentioned that some 900. The author didn't give the exact number of the COVID-19 patients. And for the questions why, the Indonesia version did not provide any information about it, and the English lead give that it is over a potential spike in new confirmed cases following the Eid al-Fitr holiday season. Another differences is in the use of verb. The English version is active verbs, and then the Indonesia version is passive. It is noted that in English are still hospitalized, while in Indonesia masih menjalani perawatan atau rawat inap. Yes, that's the difference. So both are considered as direct lead.
Okay, my name's Nadya and I'm going to be explaining this. The first pair of leads is Indonesia giving aid in form of oxygen to India, a country where they're experiencing a spike in COVID-19 cases. But their hard news, they both use direct leads. They use a pretty simple sentence structure. The Indonesian government is giving aid. The aid is in form of oxygen concentrators. They're giving it to India because India is in dire need of them. There is no additional hook besides the core of the story. There's no attention-grabbing sentences that make you wait for the actual news. There are some differences, and it's mostly the English translation uses battered by the pandemic instead of the Indonesian peningkatan jumlah kasus telah terjadi. So it's not merely stating that, oh, there is a rise of cases, but the English translation further emphasizes that they are being actively harmed by this pandemic. And it also moves the indirect object to India a bit closer to the verb. So in the Indonesian lead, it's the Indonesian government gives help in the form of oxygen to India, but in the English lead, it roughly translates into the Indonesian government offered aid to India through the provision of oxygen concentrators. The next news is about Finance Minister Sri Mulyani stating that rising COVID-19 cases are haunting the prospects of global economic recovery. This is hard news. It both uses direct leads. There is no narrative building before it gets to the topic, the main topic. It doesn't have a hook or attention grabber. It directly states who is saying what and what is happening. So the difference between these two versions is that the Indonesian version puts forward the political figure, her name and her credentials, her position, and then stating that the prospect of economic global recovery is being haunted by the rising COVID-19 cases, while the English translation uses an approach by putting COVID right at the beginning of the paragraph. Mounting COVID-19 cases have dashed the prospects of economic recovery. So not only have they moved the political figure to be at the end, they also used COVID-19 more as an active agent by using the verb have dashed instead of the Indonesian passive verb that they chose, dibayangi, haunted. Uh, and both are still working off of the same material. There's no addition of any narrative. There's no addition of attention grabbers. There's only moving the important bits, and the English translation puts the political figure Sri Mulyani at the end. So both are still direct leads and not delayed for that reason.
Okay, from the news that I found in antaranews.com, I found two pair of news that use English and Indonesian language, and I will talk about the leads both. So I found two pair. First entitled tarif vaksin gotong royong ditetapkan 500.000 per dosis, and the second one is kasus terkonfirmasi positif bertambah 5.296 dan sembuh 3.353 orang. Okay, first I will talk about the first pair, entitled tarif vaksin gotong royong ditetapkan 500.000 per dosis. I found both leads are direct leads, but structurally, Indonesian language news above is clearer and more complete to understand. Although both are direct leads, but they have a difference because Indonesian language news above has a completeness and a good structure so that it's easy to understand. For example, in the news is written Menteri Koordinator Bidang Perekonomian Erlangga Hartanto. Meanwhile, in English language news is just written just the Indonesian government. So Indonesian version is more complete and easy to understand because it includes the name of the government itself. Both also have differences in how they deliver the news. In Indonesian language, it's written the price of dose of vaccine is written 5,000 rupiah. Meanwhile, in English news, the price of dose is 37,500 rupiah and 120 rupiah. And the second pair is entitled kasus terkonfirmasi positif bertambah 5.296 dan sembuh 3.353 orang. Both leads are direct leads because both discuss and summarize the main topic of the news in one paragraph. Both news have the same core news but have different structure. By the comparison, the two are like paraphrasing each other and didn't have much difference. But in full version of news, English news one is more complete because it's listed the time description of the content of the news.